Greetings everyone, so playing Dancing 98 back at it again with another reaction. We're looking at Dante ruins every anime. This should be interesting given how we have that new Devil May Cry anime from Netflix, so it should be interesting to consider this. Let's go in and see how it goes.
Dante, second son of Sparta and the one-man show of the video game series Devil May Cry. No, not that one. This demon hunter just recently got his own anime, and at first I thought it'd be cool to see if Dante could hang with some of the toughest anime characters of all time. But then I remembered that Dante isn't just all kicks and punches. We've got to start giving my man respect for being one of the most successful paranormal investigators and superheroes of all time, even outside of his universe.
Jeez.
Meaning, it's not just Battle Shonen that should be worried about Dante crossing over into their dimension. But honestly, Dante would ruin 99% if not all anime, regardless of genre. Allow me to take you on a journey through the unknown, filled with pizza, scantily clad women that want to kill you, and way too many bad jokes to count. This is Dante Ruins Anime.
Okay, now the title makes more sense.
Jackpot. Now, just to be clear, there are multiple versions of Dante to go off of, so instead of going with a composite Dante and giving him every weapon and feat he's ever had over his long career as a demon hunter, I thought it'd be much more fun to choose which specific iteration of Dante works best for every anime, trying to make it all fit in a correct timeline as if he's replacing his game journeys with anime series. I've already made one video dropping Dante into the Demon Slayer universe, and there wasn't any shadow of a doubt even Muzan Kibutsuji wasn't standing a chance against the son of Sparta. Even in his youngest iteration, Dante is able to battle all the powerful demons that threaten the stability of his entire human realm. And when I specifically mention the word realm, that's an entire dimension itself that Dante is protecting from his enemies. And just based on his final battle with Virgil, he's surpassed the power of his father Sparta, who at one point in history was defeating the demon king Mundus' entire army and trapping the Prince of Darkness in the demon realm forever. In the original Devil May Cry, Mundus, the current ruler of hell, became the demon realm's current king by slaughtering a demon named Pluto, the original demon emperor who was strong enough to split the entire universe into two halves, them being the demon and human realms respectively. Mundus, as well as his competitor to the throne at the time, Argosax, both wield comparable strength to split entire dimensions in half. So once Dante defeats Mundus, as well as Argosax in Devil May Cry 1 and 2 respectively, a lot of people will make the argument based off that Dante can also split whole dimensions with his strength. But if that's the case, why is he getting bodied by this tutorial boss over and over again until I painstakingly learn how to parry its scythe? And the answer's simple. Most video game characters are nerfed in-game to present a challenge. It wouldn't really be very fun if Dante was just ramming through every enemy like a truck, and part of DMC's appeal in the first place is its difficulty. So without any ifs, ands, or buts, what we'll primarily
Fair enough.
be focusing on is all the different weapons that each iteration of Dante can bring to the table, because it's pretty obvious he can hang in just about any modern battle shonen. For example, in Jujutsu Kaisen, sorcerers are able to conquer their opponents not through just raw strength, but with tact, experience, and deceit. Such is the essence of a sorcerer battle. The peaks of Jujutsu Kaisen's strength, Ryomen Sukuna and Satoru Gojo, sit on the top of their totem poles, not just because they're overpowered, but because their intelligence and ability to weave Jujutsu together in such a way most other sorcerers would never even think possible makes them unbreakable forces of nature.
Unbreakable forces of nature, you say, while we're currently discussing the abilities of Dante, who's the son of a guy who can fight off dimension rippers or dimension splitters. I don't know how they said it, but still.
On top of that, their curse techniques are indomitable. Ryomen Sukuna's Shrine releases invisible slash attacks that can adjust for durability accordingly, and Gojo Satoru's Limitless and Six Eyes create an impenetrable defense that slows you down infinitely until you can never reach him. Two characters that stand above most others in anime, not because of raw power such as someone like Goku, but because their abilities translate so well into other verses, even if they're severely underpowered in the stat department, they can make up for it with their cheap abilities. However, in the case of Dante, complicated hacks and ultimate defenses mean nothing, because Dante is not only just as cunning as the two of them, he's 10 times more daring and risk-taking to take on those handicaps and more. Also, he kinda has a specific fighting style suited to directly counter both Gojo and Sukuna, and he has already achieved this power by Devil May Cry 3, the first game in his timeline. Quicksilver style is a time-controlling power gained from Dante's defeat of Geryon the Time Steed. For the cost of his Devil Trigger, something that we'll be getting into later, when Dante snaps his fingers, time comes to an almost absolute halt. While the world slows down to a minuscule, Dante moves unhindered at the speed of light for approximately a whole minute to two, which is more than given enough time to slice Sukuna into multiple pieces with the magical demon sword Rebellion, and because of time essentially coming to a halt, Gojo's infinite barrier becomes vastly weaker as its spatial division will be almost non-existent, not nearly splitting space fast enough to keep Dante away from Gojo, who will land a killing blow on his stomach or brain where reverse curse technique is made impossible to use. And with Dante having the stats to back up this perfect counter, he effectively ruins Jujutsu Kaisen's already scale-tipped power system with its own medicine. And after becoming a well-known demon hunter for collecting the 6 eyes and exercising the King of Curses, Dante would get enough money to open up his special business, Devils Never Cry. And for Devil May Cry 1 Dante, in order to effectively pace ourselves through some of this more popular thriller anime, this Dante, who is capable of defeating Mundus, Prince of Darkness, should be more than capable of completely ruining animes like Attack on Titan or even Death Note. For one, Dante's not able to keep a secret. If he shows up to the island of Paradise and knew there's a whole world out there, not only would he tell them, he would probably kill all of the Titans around the wall for them and help them get a boat and ship and escape. Or if he just shows up late and the rumbling has already began, the half-human, half-demon who survived hellfire from the demon Burial, who could cover an entire mountain in his flames, the steam from the wall Titans is just a tickle to Dante. With one swipe of his sword, Alistair will rain its lightning strikes down, and he's even got a winged demon transformation to go with it, where he can just fly right through the rumbling and fire a shot right through the Founding Titan's teeth into Aaron's neck. And this guy does mysteries as well. Put Dante in Death Note and he'd have the Kira case solved in no time. Dante has a keen demon sense, especially in his later years, that allows him to have a heightened perception towards demonic attacks or presences. His extra sensory should allow him to see right through ordinary invisibility of supernatural beings. Long story short, Dante can literally see Ryuk because he'd be able to see Shinigami. Gods of Death would be a slow Tuesday for the son of Sparta. And to be completely honest, the life of a devil hunter would probably be way more exciting to tag along with than some bratty pretentious teen with a god complex.
Do your homework first.
Mystery solved. The next game in the timeline is, weirdly enough,
Yeah, that would make it pretty short if you could literally see who has the Shinigamis hanging around and you just go, oh, Shinigami holder. Oh, Death Note holder. Shinigami. Anyone else? Okay.
Devil May Cry 2 due to a retcon stemming from the newest 5th game in the franchise, which means we have super depressed, edgy, and lame Dante, despite this also being the absolute peak of his devil powers. Part of the reason Dante was so detached in this game is because he was so powerful, no job or demon hunt was fun anymore, because nothing was able to kill him. And while Argosax was a great test of strength, allowing Dante to once again prove he can stand against demons that hold dominion over entire dimensions, it parallels with one of the saddest times in Dante's life, which would make sense after, Dante got sent on a one-way trip to the Grand Line, full of racist, aristocratic slave drivers and selfish, egotistical pirates that feel free to rape and pillage the weak as they please. Layered deep with hidden underground lore of mythological gods and shadow conspiracies to keep the world under one dominant power from now until the end of time. I'll be honest, I haven't watched One Piece. Am I close or am I far off? Either way,
You're not quite wrong.
I know enough to understand life in One Piece fucking sucks as a civilian. And for a guy like Dante, he would surely want to spend his time deleting the evil from the One Piece world one island at a time, up until he reaches the grand poobahs of capitalism and puts one right between their bubble caps. While no man, woman, or child in the One Piece world has ever been able to stop the cycle of oppression, perhaps Dante could be that one pirate, the new age that can bring change, freedom, and peace to the Grand Line. He just made off with Goldie Roger's treasure and left all the people to fend for themselves with no leader in charge. It's anarchy. Dante would also collapse.
I could see him doing that, sadly.
The power systems of the other big 3 anime as well. Devil May Cry 4 opens up with a reinvigorated Dante who's much more open and willing to let loose. It's also a Dante that has access to his brother's legendary sword, Yamato. So considering a series like Naruto, who besides their 2 protagonists, has a very large threat known as Kaguya Otsutsuki, an alien entity with the power to absorb a planet's chakra and bring entire civilizations to their knees. She is the origin of all ninjutsu, and it took both Naruto and Sasuke's combined effort to match her strength and seal her up permanently. Kaguya also has the signature ability to transport herself and her enemies to alternate dimensions that she's free to destroy of her own volition. Ironically though, that's exactly why I waited to choose Devil May Cry 4 Dante, because with the Yamato, Dante is not only able to cut open his own dimensional portals, he can charge up demonic energy to slice through space itself and rupture Kaguya's own dimensional abilities. In contrast to Dante's rebellion that serves as the bridge between the 2 realms, Yamato stands as its opposite, the separation of human and demon. And based off this concept, Yamato is able to cut through anything and ignore all durability, attacking a person's existence itself. This easily breaks right through Kaguya's ultimate truth-seeking orbs, the power that allows her to self-destruct entire dimensions. This is proven when Dante Dante fights on par with and effortlessly outplays the Savior, a godlike entity created by the cult of Fortuna that is said to rival Sparta himself. It is able to create and destroy entire suns and moons with its bare hands, and it was enough of a threat to reality to justify Dante's involvement in a job after years of hiatus. Which is why I don't think Kaguya stands a chance, nor even Bleach's final villain and protagonist, Ichigo Kurosaki, or the Quincy King Yhwach. Yhwach, as the ultimate enemy of the Soul King, was moments away from merging the concepts of life and death into one whole by the end of Bleach, breaking down and disintegrating the four realms and planning to build them into a new universe entirely. Yhwach also has his Shrift, the Almighty, that allows the Quincy King to see into every possible future and change reality to guide himself to that correct timeline. Now, for this entire video, I've only been using base Dante for every one of these conclusions. But since Yhwach is actually his first real challenge, something that I've left off the table until now about Dante is his Devil Trigger. By tapping into his innate demonic ancestry and allowing his Sparta-like bloodline to take over his genes momentarily, Dante can massively multiply his power level several times over by transforming into this state called the Devil Trigger. As Dante grew older and more powerful, this form took on more devilish shapes until eventually in Devil May Cry 2 becoming the Majin form that grants Dante flight, ethereal cannons capable of launching lightning bolts, and more strength than his father Sparta could have ever dreamed of. Considering a single demon energy infused jackpot shot was enough for Dante to already kill two universe-ending entities, a Devil May Cry 4 Dante with Yamato to cleave right through Yhwach's soul, as well as any necessary stat boost he requires from his Devil Trigger to outright break the Almighty's algorithm, it is not out of the question to assume even if Yhwach could manipulate every possible future, if Dante can present way more unstoppable force, spiritual pressure, and power, he could even conquer the Soul King itself. And it really only gets worse from here. The next game in the timeline, Devil May Cry 5, has Dante proceed to stab himself with Rebellion and merge with that gifted blade to take in that power and awaken the true force of Sparta within him, transforming his Devil Trigger into its ultimate and final form, S-I-N. And again, he proves he can conquer Urizen, who has eaten the fruit of the Clypoth, and once again become a threat that could have destroyed multiple universes. So with all of that being said, do we think peak Dante can step into the ring with Dragon Ball Z and even ruin that series? Honestly, I could see arguments going for either character. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and pass that question on to you. Does Dante ruin all of anime, or is it really only like 95%, give or take? Thank you guys so much for watching. Go watch Devil May Cry on Netflix, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, peace.
You know, if we're going to be honest, and we thought about him being all the way in Dragon Ball, I would say Dragon Ball would probably not really like his existence, because given his generation, his ability to live through almost everything that is thrown at him, yeah, he might do too good in that dimension, as it were. And as a result, yeah, I think he might be the one that could break the Dragon Ball Z universe, as it were. Even when you get to Beerus and Whis, I think the only ones who could actually fight him would technically be, the Omni King and their attendants and the Elite Angels. Like, I think even the Gods of Destruction would have trouble fighting him if he can literally, tear apart dimensions. The only way you could get him technically is with a Hakai, but he'd be able to have a chance of resisting it given his abilities. Yeah, even Dragon Ball Z, like, eventually he'd find people he'd actually have to push himself to fight, but till that point, he'd be able to pretty much wipe out almost everyone he meets. Oh boy, especially if he gets the wish. Oh god, especially if he gets the wishes. If he reaches the wishes, oh boy, not gonna do too good. But yeah, that's my vote. What do you guys think? Do you think Dante could survive almost every other anime? Because it seems like he could at this point. But in the meantime, you guys take care. Leave a comment what your vote is down below, and please like and subscribe to my channel and the videos, because we keep on reaching more people with this content, and I love to see other people's reactions to what I'm reacting to. You guys take care. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!